John Legend, welcome to the show.
Trevor, it's good to be back.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very well.
It's good to see you. You know, I was just thinking about this today when I was preparing for the interview, and I was like, you have 12 Grammys.
Yes.
You have an Oscar. You have what, 2 Emmys?
Yes.
And you have a Tony, and you have the Oscar that they took away from you as well.
Well, that was never mine to begin with. I was never going to actually get a trophy for that because they only give it to 3 producers when you win Best
okay.
Picture.
So, yeah,
So I was never going to get that, but I was up on stage and I was shocked just like everyone else.
But I mean,
when it went down. You remember it?
Oh, I remember it.
This is
Everyone
La La
remembers
Land
it.
gets
Yes.
called up. Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway.
Yep.
They call us up on stage, and they were confused too because they had the wrong card.
Right.
And they were looking at it like, this is not the Best Picture, but it is an actor's name from what everyone thinks is going to win Best Picture. And so they just said, okay, we'll just say La La Land. They brought us up on stage, and it turns out we never won to begin with. And it was Moonlight.
What sticks in your memory more? Winning your first Oscar or having your first Oscar moment taken? What do you remember more?
Winning my first Oscar because
Okay.
that was monumental. We performed Glory, me and Common, and it was such a moment, and we knew how important it was for us to win on behalf of that film and what that film represented, and for us to get up there and be able to give a speech on behalf of the movement. It was a powerful moment. So I'll never forget that, but I'll also never forget the La La Land moment.
Let's talk a little bit about what you've done since then.
Yes.
Over the years, I would say maybe it's been over the past 10, 15 years, we've noticed John Legend shift from being John Legend just on the keys to John Legend out in the streets. We've seen John Legend fighting for incarcerated people to not have to spend time behind bars because they can't pay bail. We've seen John Legend fighting for people's rights, for voting rights. We've seen John Legend. This shift has become more and more aggressive over time in a good way.
Yeah.
I'd love to know where that came from. Like, how do you go from singing love songs to going like, no, you know what, I'm also going to get out there in the streets and fight for these things?
Well, it came from all the artists I looked up to, because I looked up to people like Paul Robeson and Nina Simone and Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye.
Interesting.
Artists who always used their platform to tell the world what was going on, not just in their music, but also going out there and funding protests like Harry Belafonte used to do, going out and marching with people like they used to do, singing at these protests like Mahalia Jackson used to do. These were artists that I always looked up to. And when I was 15, I even wrote an essay. It was a Black History Month essay competition.
I wondered if this was true.
Yes, and it's true. I wrote this when I was 15, and they said, how are you going to make Black history? And my essay, in 500 words or less, I said that I'm going to become a successful artist. I'm going to become a musician and do what I love, which is making music. But I'm also going to use the platform that I gained from becoming a successful musician to try to make change in the world.
It's such an interesting journey to get into at the age of 15, saying I'm going to become a successful recording artist, not just for the music and not just for the fame, but also because I want to use the platform. And that's what you've done.
Yeah.
I mean, your latest initiative, Human Level.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting one because for a long time, people have argued that many people who are activists or many people who want to get involved in politics like to get involved at like the flashy levels. You know, who's running for president?
Yes.
Who's governor? Who's going for this? Who's going for that? Human Level seems like it's like, no, it's on the ground. It's not flashy. And you argue it's what actually counts.
It's in the trenches, and I joked with our co-founders, we got to make local government sexy, because what really happens and where resources get allocated, where priorities are set, you know, we notice the big bills that come out of Washington, but even those big bills, a lot of times the resource allocation happens on a local level. And so we want voices in the room who are saying, let's look out for people who have been marginalized, people who've been ignored before.
You see these stories come up all the time. Obviously, Flint was one of the most famous. Recently, we've seen it again, where you get underprivileged communities, oftentimes black communities, where lead pipes are poisoning their water. A lot of the time, people don't seem to understand where that comes from. You know, they'll say, oh, the governor needs to do something, the president needs to do something. For someone who completely doesn't understand, they go, John Legend, what are you talking about? What is an example of something that people don't realize is decided on this ground level?
Well, in Michigan, that I think was mostly a state issue. So it was a governor and their staff deciding how they were going to handle a water issue in Flint, and it had disastrous repercussions for the city of Flint. But there's so many decisions. For instance, so many people have been protesting about policing and the criminal justice system. So many of those decisions about how we police, who we police, how it's funded, and what we take the funds away from when we fund the police.
Right.
All those decisions are usually made on a city council, mayoral level. And you know, you saw so many protesters calling to defund the police or to allocate some of those resources that we've been spending on police to other things that would care for the mental health and, and the physical health of the community, invest in the community in other ways. But how do you actually go about doing that? That happens in local government.
For a long time, artists were people who were just artists. You saw what they were doing when they wanted you to see it. And then slowly over time, you know, people stepped out of that. They said, well, I'm not just going to be the artist. I'll also live life, and I'll speak out for the issues that I believe in. I've really been interested in how you have also shared some of the best and worst moments of your personal life as a human being. I know a lot of people don't understand it. I know you've had people who've been against you and your wife sharing issues that you've gone through and whatever, but I'd love to know, as a human being, why have you chosen as John Legend to go, I'm not just going to show you the stadiums that I sell, I'm not just going to show you the activism, I'm also going to show you some of the most painful moments of my private life.
Well, this is a whole new world, you know. Artists didn't have social media 20 years ago. And so there's no blueprint for how this is supposed to happen.
Definitely.
But we've kind of, our generation has kind of grown into social media, knowing that we have the ability to tell our own stories to our audiences. And Chrissy and I, we don't share everything, but we do share some of our personal lives and some of the tragedy that we've experienced. And we experienced a miscarriage last year, and it was really tough. But one of the most powerful aspects about it was knowing that us sharing it made other people feel more comfortable talking about it. Because so many families have gone through this, so many women have gone through this, and they felt seen, they felt heard, they felt validated in their own experience by seeing someone with such a huge platform talk about hers.
Before I let you go, if people want to get involved in this new initiative, if people want to take action, if people want to get involved in the, as you say, the grassroots movements that will actually change how their cities work, what can they do? How can they help Human Level?
So they can visit our website, humanlevel.org. We just launched it. We in the site we describe the work that we're doing and the fellows that we're working with and the cities we're working in, and folks can get involved. And we want people to get involved and realize how much the local leaders matter in your community. And if you don't want to get involved in actually doing that kind of work, at least pay attention to what's happening in local elections, because folks on the other side are definitely doing that. They're going to school board meetings. They're making sure that elections officials are changing in those communities. We need to also, Voices for Inclusion, Voices for Progressive Values, need to also be concerned about what's happening locally, because so much of that impacts our daily lives.
Well, as always, my friend, it's a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Ain't Too Proud returns to Broadway on October 16th, and this man is part of the team that's putting it on. For more information on John's new initiative, go to the website below.